Fox 61 News First at 4 starts now.
Wherever I go, whatever I do, you will always be with me, right here, tucked away in a special place in my heart where no one exists but you.
I may never understand why this happened, but a very wise man told me that the world we currently live in is a mess, and it is currently in chaos, and the world needed a hero. And God picked you to be that one.
A day of mourning in the city of New Haven and here in the state of Connecticut as we remember the life of New Haven firefighter Ricardo Torres Jr. Thanks for joining us here at 4. I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Jenn Bernstein. Heavy hearts today as first responders paid their final respects to a fallen hero. Firefighter Torres died in the line of duty last week while battling a house fire on Valley Street in New Haven. He was 30 years old.
Firefighters from around Connecticut as well as the region and the entire country traveling to New Haven today to say their final goodbyes to this young hero. Firefighter Torres is survived by his wife and his infant son. The couple was expecting their second child this summer. Today, Torres' wife gave a tearful goodbye to her husband and the hero she loves so dearly.
It is an honor to have met you, to have fallen in the deepest of deep kind of love with you, to marry you and have a family with you. It is a privilege to have been loved by you, to have been chosen by you, and to carry your 2 sons for you.
Absolutely heartbreaking for so many reasons. Today we have live team coverage on this somber day for the city and for the state.
We do want to begin with Fox 61's Tony Terzi live in New Haven outside of St. Mary Church with more of the deep emotion from today's funeral for firefighter Torres. Tony.
Just an amazing scene, Jen, here at the St. Mary Church, where Hill House Avenue was just teeming with firefighters today. And firefighter Torres was known very quickly as Tornado Torres on the job. His co-workers say that's because of the veracity with which he attacked his job. But as quickly as he did his work, he was gone. And people were grappling with that today. Firefighters from as far away as Austin, Texas, on hand to pay their respects to a firefighter not even on the job for 2 years before becoming the New Haven Fire Department's first line of duty death in a dozen years.
And the world needed a hero. And God picked you to be that one.
Ricardo Torres Jr.'s mother among the family and co-workers trying to make sense of it all.
The last thing I imagined myself doing today, or ever, was delivering a speech at my son's funeral.
You're supposed to be here. We need you. I need you. I need you.
The fallen firefighter's wife, who is pregnant with their second son due in August, noted their oldest son celebrates his first birthday next week.
And it hurts my soul that you're going to miss it. We've been so excited, counting down the days, and now things are going to feel very different without you here.
Rico was one of those high-strung firefighters who wanted to get in there, and he wanted to save as many lives as possible.
And last week, he helped save 2 lives in the Valley Street fire before losing his. And his captain says he will never forget a conversation he had with Rico during their last shift working together.
And I told him that if I were to ever lose one of my firefighters, that I'd be broken. I'm freaking broken.
It was crushing watching that funeral today, as I'm sure many of you did on the FOX61 News app, and we thank the family for allowing it to be streamed to the public. Coming up on the FOX61 News at 5, you'll hear from Fire Chief John Alston, who's been in the business for decades, but he talks about some things he learned from Rico, only in the business for a couple of years. We're live here outside St. Mary's Church in New Haven. I'm Tony Terzi, FOX61 News.
So sad, Tony. Thank you very much. The outpouring of support for the New Haven Fire Department and for firefighter Torres' family is only growing.
Not just here in Connecticut, but really all across the country. Firefighters from throughout the United States making the trip to New Haven, paying their respects for their fallen brother.
It's sad, you know, because of the situation, you know, but it gives you a sense of pride of, you know, what you do for an occupation, and to see how everybody kind of gathers around to try and make, you know, the best of a horrendously bad situation.
The fire department here in New Haven, the fire department all over this East Coast is feeling this tragedy. We've had it happen in our state, and we just are up here to pay respect to them and show them that we're feeling what they're feeling down there in Texas.
Well, the show of love and support for firefighter Torres and his family could be seen all across the state as a procession carried his body from New Haven to its final resting place in Hartford, where Torres and his family lived. Local fire departments and other first responders were set up on many different overpasses along that route on I-91. FOX61's Angelo Bavaro has more from today's rolling tribute.
This display on the Route 68 overpass, impossible to miss from the highway. The Wallingford Fire Department set up out here with 2 ladder trucks and a giant American flag. This is a massive show of respect and honor for a fallen hero who gave his life to serve others.
We may not be New Haven firefighters, but we are family, and we will support you in a time of need.
Lieutenant William Massey joined by several other members of the Wallingford Fire Department to pay his respects as part of the rolling tribute on I-91 for fallen firefighter Ricardo Torres Jr. As the procession passed by on its way to the cemetery in Hartford, firefighters stood in attention with the hand salute.
We do this mostly for any line of duty death.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here for him and his family, to show that this is a true brotherhood above all. This could happen to us, it could happen to anybody.
It was a similar display of support on other overpasses along I-91. This was the scene in North Haven as firefighters from that department set up on the Bassett Road overpass.
Right now, I think there's trucks at every overpass from New Haven all the way to Hartford.
Those trucks serving as a symbol of respect, but also a reminder for the people driving by about the great loss the state has suffered.
So as you see, as we're standing here talking, everybody's showing support by blowing the horns and let us know that they're supporting us and behind us 100%. And it's very emotional right now just standing here talking about it and thinking about it.
That support stretching from town to town via I-91, but also reaching far beyond the procession route as the entire state of Connecticut thanks a hero gone too soon. Reporting in Wallingford, Angelo Bavaro, FOX61 News.
As you just saw, the procession from New Haven to Hartford was deeply moving, and when the body of Ricardo Torres arrived in the capital city, there was a strong show of support to pay tribute. FOX61's Jim Altman live in Hartford outside of Cedar Hill Cemetery, where firefighter Torres was laid to rest. Jimmy.
And in fact, Jen, that service just ending within the past 10 minutes. We probably saw 100 or so cars exit the cemetery here, Cedar Hill, on the south end of Hartford. There were cars, there were emergency vehicles all coming out from the service, which was closed to the public and to the media. But that service just ending just a few minutes ago. A beautiful day here, but a somber day. And from New Haven to here in Hartford, a heartfelt farewell to a hometown hero. They have come from across Connecticut, from around the region. A fraternity of firefighters standing together to pay respects to Ricardo Torres Jr.
A firefighter is a firefighter, and that's how we look at it, and we recognize it that way.
In the back of our mind, it's always, you know, could that have been me?
I've said before many times that I feel like a job like this brings a second family.
Just 30 years old, the husband and father lost his life responding to a house fire in New Haven on May 12th. His final resting place is here in Hartford at the Cedar Hill Cemetery. From a distance, you could see the support. A closer look reveals solidarity in the streets. Jim York is a deputy chief in Hartford.
None of this can soften the loss. Hopefully it's helpful in the grieving process, but we know what it's like because we've been there.
And there's a family in the fire department. Even if you're retired and you're not affiliated with a department, you still have that love and understanding for that individual and the family that lost their life.
Entering the cemetery as Torres' procession passed. It was a poignant moment to reflect and to honor a friend, a family man, a firefighter, a hometown hero.
Today's feelings are pretty somber, extremely humbling. To do a job like this takes some courage, takes some selfless service, and that isn't easy to do.
When this sort of tragic event occurs, there's no doubt that a firefighter that lays down their life is heroic.
And there is a GoFundMe page set up for the Torres family. We have a link to it at fox61.com and on the Fox 61 News app. When we last checked that GoFundMe, it had already reached $285,000. We're live in the south end of Hartford. Jim Altman, Fox 61 News.
All right, Jimmy, thank you very much. Now, another New Haven firefighter was injured while battling that fire, and he continues to recover in the hospital now. Lieutenant Samad Rankin suffered serious burns in the fire on Valley Street. He's been at the burn unit at Bridgeport Hospital ever since. Today on the Fox 61 Morning News, the mayor of New Haven gave a positive update about Lieutenant Rankins.
Lieutenant Rankins is improving. He's still at the hospital and unfortunately cannot attend the funeral today, but there will be Bridgeport and New Haven firefighters with him watching remotely the funeral to support him. It's a difficult time for him and his family, but we're very grateful that he's improving.
A very somber day for the state as we mourn the loss of this fallen hero. Fox 61 digital content producer Doug Stewart capturing these photos in the city of New Haven as the city and the state and the country pay their respects and remember the life of firefighter Ricardo Torres Jr. You can expect more continued coverage from Fox 61 on air, online, and on the news app. Much more still to come next hour on the Fox 61 News at 5.